going to be watching this on the replay, welcome to everybody who's going to be joining us live. We're going to wait a few minutes to see who hops on here. Hello, Annika. I see you in the chat. Beautiful. Let's give a very, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Let's just have a moment of gratitude for Annika and all she does to ensure that these live streams go smoothly. She's always here working diligently to assist in holding that sacred container in the chat, and you are so infinitely appreciated, Annika. I'm still getting my bearings. I just walked in the door. I had an appointment. That's why we're starting a little late today. And let me know, and Annika and anyone else who's in the chat, if the noise of the fan in the background is obstructing the ability for you to hear me. It is really hot in my office. I'm going to do my best to make it through the live stream. I typically have an air conditioner in my office, but I do not have one at this point this year. So it is toasty in here. I typically don't like to use fans because of the noise and also because they blow the cards around when we start doing the reading, but we're going with it. So we'll see. Hopefully it's not bothering anything. Annika says it's fine. So we're going to go with that. Hello, Plune. And I am going to be continuing to work toward finding a way to balance the talking with people in the chat with the astrology and the reading itself, because I know it can be challenging to watch on the replay when I'm constantly talking to people. It's different when you're here for the live experience versus when you're not. So I'm going to work at different ways of that. I might extract some more parts, like I've been extracting some of the portions of the live streams for the shorts. I might do that with little excerpts from the video too, little mini videos. So that way people can watch without having to, you know, listen to me saying, hi Dee, how you doing today? Hello Celeste, you know, that kind of thing. I do, of course, want to welcome everyone when I see them come on because I love you all so much and I'm so excited for you to be with me now and always. It is hot, like I said, but I really, really love it. Honestly, I was calling this past winter the never-ending winter. And so now that we're in summertime, I'm just like, I remember I walked out of the gym yesterday and the air hit me like a hot, heavy, sweaty blanket. And I was just like, oh, this is beautiful. Like, I was just so grateful for it. So grateful for that heat and that warmth. So I hope you are all experiencing that if you're in the Northern Hemisphere right now. And I hope that you're experiencing, I don't know where everybody else is at and what it looks like where you are, but here everything is so lush and green. And I'm seeing like colors of green that I've never seen before. I was talking with a friend earlier yesterday, and I was saying something about how I feel like the earth is just getting more and more beautiful and vibrant every year. And then we both agreed perhaps it's not even just that, as we're getting more and more able to perceive of her beauty. And it's just whichever way it's going, however it's working, it is absolute. I think it's probably a little bit of both, right? It's just absolutely gorgeous. Like, I just could not, it's those little moments, you know? Like when you're walking and you see the sun hitting the grass and all these beautiful technicolor greens and your breath is taken away. Like, those are the little moments. Those are those moments that we want to cherish, right? Where our hearts are open, where we're open to perceiving that beauty all around us. And we're really connecting with that 5D frequency. Is what it feels like. And those energies are so available to us and so apparent right now. That's what this live stream is going to be all about today. We're going to be talking about the Sirian gateway, which has already opened up and really feels like it opened up with that new moon in Cancer, honestly. The Sirian gateway is when the sun moves into alignment with the star Sirius and the Sirian star system, which is the star Sirius or Sirius A, which is what we're typically talking about when we talk about Sirius. Although there's more than just Sirius A, there's a whole star system, there's a binary star system, and a lot going on within Sirius. Sirius A and Sirius B are the main stars within that system. But the Earth lines up exactly with Sirius A at 14 degrees of Cancer, which is going to be the 5th into the 6th of July this year. So that's the big day for the Sirian Gateway. And then, of course, the 7/7 portal the next day. But this whole first week of July And like I said, really dipping into sort of the end of June there where we had that new moon in Cancer, really feeling that energy opening up, in my opinion. And this is really the precursor that sets the stage for the Lion's Gate and opens us up into that gateway of energy, which of course culminates in a second wave of intensity with the 8/8 Lionsgate portal. So we're in it, you guys. Some call this the dog days of summer, whatever you want to call it, however you want to look at it. It is a potent gateway where we have these beautiful Sirian energies pouring onto this planet, the Sirius star system. These are, the way that I view the beings of Sirius is they're very high vibrational. They're kind of like the elders. Like there's a lot of that elder vibe when we're looking at the Sirians. There's a lot of wisdom. They hold such high vibrational light. Remember, Sirius is referred to as our spiritual sun, right? We have our sun that we receive our life force energy from. And Sirius is where this galaxy receives its spiritual, it's like the spiritual battery of the universe is a way that a lot of people look at Sirius. So when we're connected to the star Sirius, when the sun moves through this gateway of energy, particularly this first week of July, there's just so many beautiful light codes. There's so much wisdom, intergalactic wisdom that's available to us. There's so many cellular and DNA activations that we are receiving. We're opening up to more of our own spiritual wisdom, to more of our own deep connection with the cosmos, with ourselves, right? With our own higher selves and all these different dimensions of the self. So it's a really beautiful, multi-dimensional gateway of energy, and we can connect very deeply. There's going to be some really profound spiritual truths that I think are being revealed to us this time around, because we got a lot going on astrologically during the Sirian gateway this year. And of course, like what you said, this is really kind of like the whole month of July, opening us up toward the Lion's Gate. But this first week of July is the big, this is when the energy is at its most potent. All right. And this year we have on the 4th, a whole lot of stuff going on. We got Neptune turning retrograde in the sign of Aries. Neptune will be retrograding back into Pisces later this year, but it's going to be retrograding in the sign of Aries. So that's happening on the 4th. We also have Venus in Taurus conjunct Uranus in Taurus at that 29th anaretic degree of Taurus, right before, like a split second before Venus then moves into Gemini. All right, so a lot of wildness. And then Uranus enters Gemini on the 7/7 itself. So a lot of really high voltage energy here. We're getting a nice preview of Venus, Venus will be in Gemini. Of Uranus in Gemini before Uranus then retrogrades back into Taurus for one final time, hitting that 29-degree anaretic point. And having Venus conjunct here, right before she moves into Gemini, at this 29th degree, this degree that Uranus is going to be tracing back over during his retrograde, there feels like a powerful significance here. This is a big turning point. This is a real initiation, particularly when it comes to, it's like one of these focal points within this transit of Uranus in Taurus, which began back in 2018, where there's a real culmination, particularly, and remember, Venus rules the sign of Taurus. So when Venus is in one of her signs, conjunct Uranus, she's really bringing through those themes that Uranus has been working with, the ways that Uranus has been revolutionizing our energy when it comes to self-love, self-worth, and all the things that come out of that, right? This is love, this is relationships, this is money, right? And finance. So we could be seeing some interesting things happen then. It'll be interesting to see what happens to the stock and the crypto market as we have this conjunction and then Uranus moves into Gemini. I think it's going to be a really interesting summer and fall where that's concerned, with Uranus moving back and forth between that last degree of Taurus and the beginnings of Gemini, and also this conjunction with Venus and Uranus. So we might see some interesting shakeups going on as we're looking at the greater global sense. And there's going to be something powerful that's shifting, and it's shifting within us, but this is something that we've been working at for quite some time, particularly when we're looking at self-love, when we're looking at self-value, when we're looking at self-worth, right? It's like something has been building, something within us. There's been a different way that we're viewing ourselves, that we're judging what holds value within us, right? as well as what we value in the greater world. And with this conjunction here, it feels like there's a real breakthrough in energy where something finally, if it's been an energy of self-acceptance, self-love, it's like there's some final shifting that allows for something to anchor into place. So I think that I think this is going to be really interesting. I love the fact that the United States has its sun conjunct the star Sirius. I really, really love that. And it's perfect because another thing that Sirius represents is freedom, right? And what do we call this? We call this in the United States Independence Day. All right. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And we know that the United States' Uranus return is occurring with Uranus in the sign of Gemini, particularly or specifically rather, when Uranus reaches 8 degrees of Gemini, which I want to say is going to be in like 2027 maybe. But this is kind of a preview of those energies as well, right? We got so many revolutionary energies going on between Saturn and Neptune in Aries, between Uranus moving into Gemini, Pluto now in Aquarius after having the United States having its Pluto return. Back when Pluto was at like 27 degrees, I believe, a couple years ago. So there's a lot in the mix right now. I think worldwide and definitely within the United States, we're going to see a lot shaking up, a lot changing. Uranus in Gemini is very much about downloads as well. It's about that higher wisdom. Remember, Uranus is the higher octave of Gemini, or of Mercury rather. And Mercury rules the sign Gemini. Sorry, it took me a little bit to spit that out. So this is I think we have a Mercury retrograde coming up soon too. Let me take a look at that, like really soon, not just like in the distant future. I feel like this month. So I'm gonna look into that for everybody, myself included right now. When is that? Yeah, July 18th, Mercury goes retrograde in Leo. So we're already probably in the shadow for that, beginning to feel those energies, or getting ready to go into the shadow. I tumble over my words all the time though, so it may not be related, but I mean, we're talking astrology, so we got to blame Mercury for something, right? If we don't, we're not doing our drops right here. So, yes, Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. Mercury rules Gemini. So Uranus in the sign of Gemini is a very highly charged energy. It's really expanding our consciousness. It's expanding our psychic capabilities. If you think about this is like serious third eye and crown chakra activations and higher, I'm feeling. And you can think about it almost like, imagine the antenna. If you imagine your third eye like an antenna, projecting this energy outward, right? Like your ability, what you're able to connect to, the frequencies, the range of your antenna, so to speak. That range is going to be significantly increased as Uranus moves into the sign of Gemini. So this is major, like we said, psychic activations, really connecting with, this is the time. And I believe and of course, I don't have my notes down right now. You guys know how I am, numbers, dates. A lot of this stuff doesn't fully stay anchored in my brain. But it's going to be many years, many years forward, like 7 years, I want to say, that Uranus is going to be in the sign of Gemini. So during this time, we're going to see the extraterrestrial communication increasing. We're going to see our awareness of beings outside of planet Earth increasing, our awareness of ourselves, of, everything that we already know, right? Star seeds, all of this stuff is going, like the interest in that and the belief in that and the connection to that is going to be much more pronounced. And I'm going to look. I want to get the exact dates here for you. 2033. There we go. All right. That's how long Uranus is going to be in the sign of Gemini. So we're going to see this continuing to progress as we move through that time period. But there's going to be a lot of innovation. There's going to be a lot shifting and changing within our perspectives, within just a lot of expansion within the mind, within the parameters of the belief systems, a lot of new information coming in, like we said. This is where, as we begin to have more and more, I guess you could say, established extraterrestrial communication and contact, because like most people on here probably, whether you recognize it or not, and a lot of you probably do connect with your star family, do connect with your team of light. You know, this is pretty normal within our community and our little sort of niche within the world, right? There's a lot of people who channel these beings, but that's going to increase. And the application of the technologies that they bring forward for us is going to increase as well. So that's all going to be very fascinating. This is another kind of area where we can see sort of the AI being influenced as well. I think similar to Pluto and Aquarius, right? Aquarius ruled by Uranus. So we're going to see a lot going on with that as well. And Uranus and Gemini, Uranus is always, it's not like slow, steady movement. It's like fast, it's like radical shifts and changes, radical paradigm shifts, like from 0 to 60, you know, without speeding up in between, right? You're just here and then all of a sudden you're there. This is timeline jumps. This is all of that wild, erratic energy that doesn't follow a fixed course. So there's going to be a lot that happens unexpectedly. There's going to be a lot of developments where it seems like there should have been a lot of necessary steps in between, but all of a sudden it's like we're here and then we're here. And we're going to see this within the world. We're going to see this within our own individual lives as well. Uranus within the sign of Gemini is going to make it even easier to quantum leap. And as a result of that, we want to be really, really cognizant of what we are thinking, what we are speaking, of where our frequency is and what we are aligning our frequency with, because we can shift timelines like that. All right, so we want to stay anchored in the desirable timelines. This gives us a lot of great possibility, but it also can be problematic if we are not being good stewards of our vibration, so to speak. So we really want to do that. I've been really resonating with this idea lately. And this understanding that we're going to have so many realities existing kind of like right side by side along each other. You know, we saw the most pronounced version of that in 2020 when it literally, we could see the evidence of the split in consciousness through like where people were vibrating at and what kind of experience they were having, because there were very different experiences being had by different people from that time and still moving forward. So that's going to get more pronounced, but it could be like a lot of people have been talking about like many timelines all playing out together simultaneously, side by side. And I do resonate with that. So I think it's going to be really fascinating to see what that is like. And just like, it just needs to be a constant reminder to us. You are the creator. We are the creators of our own reality. Whatever, like this is a really beautiful time where we really get to see that split evident, where it's like we're not just getting carried along with the wave of the collective consciousness. The collective or different segments of the collective can choose certain realities, but we will not be beholden's not the word that I want to use, but like, remember, we're not victims. We won't have to get carried along on that wave if that's not the wave that we're vibrating towards. So it's going to be really, really fascinating to see how that plays out and how all of these different realities are being experienced as we move forward. And that Jupiter in Gemini, or sorry, not Jupiter, Uranus and Gemini energy, it's really going to help us to sort of jump between and navigate between all those different timelines and possibilities. You know how we say all possibilities are possible? That statement has never been truer than it is right now. All right, I'm going to take a minute to say hello to everyone before we continue moving forward here. Hello, Michael. I see you in there. Alicia. Hello, Alessandro. 98. Yes, it is 80 something today. High 80s where I am. Yeah. Let's see. Anybody else here? Hello. Hello, Kushbu Data. Hello, Thai. Aloha. Yes, yes. Your PC blew up a few days ago, Michael? Oh, that's crazy. Oh, no. Or too much energy, right? Being generated. Let's see. And yes, Elon Musk does have like 14 children. I'll weigh in on that for a second. It's absolutely insane. Yeah. I think he talks about how like a lot of the people that are part of the whole like global forum and all of that, like the Gates type people, how they're depopulationists, right? Like they want to reduce the population. That's what they're aiming for. We all know. And so I saw some clip where he was talking about how they called him an animus, which is essentially like somebody who is pro-human, who wants greater population, to increase population as opposed to decrease the population, which is kind of interesting. You can see he's doing his part with all those kids. At least he can afford to take care of them, right? I don't know. It's interesting. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on with him right now. He's like all of this public fighting with Trump, which some of it seems very like strategically organized, right? But then it's all fascinating to see. I think I saw that he was thinking about starting his own political party. Did anybody else see that? Yeah, so lots of interesting stuff brewing. He is one of those wild cards that you can't really put a finger on. Like, you're not really sure what's going on with him. But I do appreciate that in a person. I appreciate someone who keeps us guessing, right? Let's see. Oh, there's a lot going. The thing of it is, I realized, and hello, Lindsay. Hello, Tammy. What I've realized lately is everything in my life has seemed like it's a giant lesson in surrender. Trust and surrender. There's only so much that I can control. And I am proud to say that I am getting pretty good at letting go of the stuff that I can't control. And now that I've said that, right? So we're gonna... I am diligently practicing that surrender piece. You know, there's so many things that have happened where it's like my monkey mind that thinks that I know how everything's going to work out and how everything's going to manifest is like, no, this is screwing everything up, you know, and like my mind wants to go into a tailspin, but I just keep pulling it back, just pulling myself back to the present moment, just pulling myself back to the fact that like my frequency is the only thing that I can control, right? So what a great place to start. And I've had to really focus on my self-care lately. That's why I haven't been doing as many videos. I haven't been on here as much. I've really been embracing that Cancerian energy that we have going on right now. Of like, I got Jupiter transiting my 12th house too, right? So there's a lot of that need to go inward, to focus on family, to focus on self-care. Really focusing on getting my physical health, my body in order. You know what I mean? Like that's been a big focus for me. That's been an area that I have neglected a lot over the years. And it's feeling very important. You know, as we're moving through this next phase of our ascension, our light body is really activating. Our DNA is activating to a level where it's like we have to be supporting our physical bodies. We have to really be looking at what we're consuming. It's like, yes, in terms of all the metaphysical stuff, what we're reading, what we're listening to, all of that, yes, yes, yes. But like, I've always been really good at talking about that stuff, but kind of overlooking what I'm putting into it. And that had to stop, you know? So it's been a learning curve. It's definitely, and it continues to be, you know? But we're all being called to find that balance in the different ways. But that's what's most important right now, I feel, is each working on the unique ways that we can balance ourselves, that we can balance our energies, that we can stay centered and grounded within our own being. There's so much to do, right? But at the same time, like the greatest service that we can do for the planet is to be centered and anchored into our own energy. And to shine our light. And sometimes if we're overextending ourselves, even when it comes to service to the collective, right? That can throw us off balance. That was throwing me off balance, you know? So this is, you know, it's all about knowing and understanding how and where to place our energy, understanding our energetic limits, and understanding what's important, you know? Not that I'm saying that service to the collective is not important. You know, I'm just saying like there's different phases that we all go through as far as like how it is that we are showing up for that. You know, we always talk about how our own personal healing is the greatest service that we could ever do. And it's so incredibly true. So I want to make sure that everybody is honoring that for themselves as well. And if there's anybody who's been feeling guilty about that or feeling like you need to overstretch yourself right now to take care of other people, to please other people, to live up to some sort of lofty ideal of like who you should be or what you should be or how you should be conducting yourself in the world, consider this a reminder that like you deserve the same love and care that you're wanting to extend out to your loved ones, your family, all of humanity. For a lot of people on here, right? We came here to be able to serve humanity, but sometimes we serve humanity best by serving ourselves, by taking care of ourselves. All right, so give yourself permission to be where you're at and just trust your spirit's going to guide you. My spirit has been guiding me. My head has been saying, this isn't the time to slow down. You got to go full steam ahead. You know what I mean? Like, you got to show up 10 times harder. You got to make 10 times more videos right now because people need it, because the moment, you know what I mean? That's what my head says, but my spirit's been saying, no, you need to chill. Like, show up, do your live streams, you know, do your retreat in Sedona, which registration is still open. We still have spots open in the B&B if anybody wants to join us. All the information for that is in the description box below. That's happening for the 999 portal. All right. But like, give yourself some grace. Give yourself some time to breathe, to reboot. You know what I mean? This is my favorite time of year, if you can't all tell, because I just love being warm and I love when everything is beautiful and lush and green and fertile. And I just want to experience more of that. You know what I mean? So like, I'm following what my spirit tells me to do, even if my head is like, oh my God, this is going to ruin everything, right? Oh, hello, Khalid. I am fabulous. How are you? Yes, Annika just dropped the link for Sedona in the chat there. Yes, I'm so excited, Michael. I'm so excited. All right. Okay. What else do we need to know? We talked about the Venus-Uranus conjunction. We talked about Uranus entering Gemini. And Venus entering Gemini as well. Beautiful. It's always my Venus return when Venus enters Gemini. A little bit late. I'm late Gemini, my Venus, but it's always a beautiful time for me. I love that. That's probably another reason I love this time of year, right? The summertime, because of that. Just like when your Venus return comes around, there's always just this infusion of energy, of life force, of like charisma, and just it's a really invigorating time. You know, Venus is honestly one of the most fun planets. She is such a beauty. So what were we saying? Yeah, Venus and Gemini. Little recap for Venus and Gemini. Venus and Gemini is very social. She likes to be seen. She likes to be heard. She likes to connect with people, to share ideas, to have new experiences. So it's a really fun social time, and it's perfect summer energy, really, when we have Venus and Gemini, because it really gets us out there in the world. It's a super fun, flirtatious kind of time. And it's like, not even like, when we say flirtation, a lot of times we think about like flirting with people, but this is literally like flirting with life. That's what Venus and Gemini likes to do. She likes to flirt with life. She likes to have all these different experiences. She likes to embrace the full spectrum of what life and this human experience has to offer, and to really play around with different things, play around with different versions of herself, particularly as Venus is getting ready to enter Gemini, when she has that conjunction with Uranus. And then even at the beginning, because when Venus moves into Gemini, she's going to be like when Uranus moves in, Venus is still going to be in the very early degrees of Gemini. So their energy is going to be connected, even within the end of Taurus and the beginning of Gemini. So this is a time where we might feel called to reinvent ourselves as well, where people may want to cut their hair, color their hair, update their wardrobe. There's going to be a lot with the aesthetic as well that people are wanting to shift. And there's going to be a real focus, especially with Uranus active here, but even without Uranus, on that energy of freedom in relationships, freedom of experimentation, freedom of expression, freedom to explore. So that's going to be a real energy that we're all feeling as we move through this transit of Venus in the sign of Gemini. Yes, and we were actually just talking about the beauty of the planet before you hopped on, Khalid. So what was I looking up? Why do I have this open here? Oh, because I wanted to see what else we were missing here. We have, of course, Neptune, who is going retrograde within the sign of Aries. And Neptune will return to Pisces. Let me get out my notes here. Neptune will return to Pisces in... Ooh, it is getting so hot, you guys. I have the fan on rotate. I don't want to keep it just blowing on me because when I start pulling cards, that's going to get a little bit problematic. It'll be funny. Let's see here. Come on, baby. Where are you? We're in August. Uranus goes retrograde in September. While we're in Sedona, for those who are joining on the trip, Uranus will station retrograde at 1 degree of Gemini on the 6th. 9/6. And Uranus re-enters Taurus on the 7th of November. So we've got Uranus, but where is Neptune? Okay, here we go. October 22nd, Neptune retrograde is going to re-enter the sign of Pisces. All right. So she's going to be retrograde in the sign of Aries. And this is where we're going over that, whatever the experience is that we've had so far with Neptune, as she entered this first couple degrees of Aries, because I believe Neptune is at 2 degrees of Aries right now as she stations retrograde on the 4th. And this is a preview, right? Just like Uranus and Gemini is going to be a preview when we have that energy briefly this year. That retrograde is going to take us back into the former signs, right? Uranus back into Taurus, Neptune back into Pisces, to tie up any loose ends from those former transits. And then we're going to be launched firmly into the new energy that we're going to be working with. And as we said, we're going to be working with Uranus and Gemini until 2033. And Neptune, we're going to... and Neptune until 2039. All right, so this is a big cycle of empowerment. This is a big cycle of creation, of initiation, of really stepping into our spiritual sovereignty and owning our light, particularly with Neptune and Aries. That's what I was feeling, was this energy of owning our light. This energy of the healers, the way showers, the light workers, whatever labels we use to define ourselves, right? Stepping out of the shadows, the healing of the healer's wound, right? This has been Neptune and Pisces has really been an amplification of the healer's wound, of that energy. It's been the clearing out process. And now that we've cleared that, now that we've purged all of that energy, and when we talk about the healer's wound, we're talking about the wound. Well, honestly, I was shown that the original healer's wound, and this, you might relate with this, you might not. You know, take it with a grain of salt for those it is going to resonate with, can be traced back to Yeshua and his crucifixion. That's a huge collective imprint of the healer's wound, kind of the biggest imprint of that energy. And of course, we've all had our own lifetimes where we've been burned at the stake, where we've been hanged, where we've been, you know, even just persecuted and cast out for using our gifts, for sharing our light. So the healer's wound is the memory of all of that ripples through time and space, and the collective wound within the psyche of humanity, particularly those who identify with their healer's gifts. It's almost like, it's sort of like a curse in the sense it kind of operated like as soon as one starts tapping into their healing gifts, it's like that wound is activated as well. And then we move through that process of healing it. And each of us has moved through our own process with that energy. Neptune and Pisces was very much about that. And now Neptune and Aries is when we have the breakthrough, where we perhaps still hold vestiges of that energy, but we don't let it stop us, right? Because Aries is all about courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the willingness to walk through that fear. So as Neptune moves into Aries, we're willing to walk through our spiritual fears. We're willing to walk through those fears of persecution, those fears of being disowned, disavowed, right? Those fears of abandonment, whatever those fears are, those fears of our own power, right? And what happens when we tap into that, when we activate that, and we're going to be activating and anchoring our spiritual power. So it's a really big energy, this Neptune and Aries transit. And this, we've been getting a taste of this. We've been getting a taste as Neptune moved through this first couple degrees of Aries here. As far as what aspects of our power, of our light are ready to be owned, activated, and anchored. Where the healing is that wants to take place in order for us to begin to embody more of the truth and the beauty of who we are, and to bring our own individual spiritual gifts and individual light to this planet. So what you're beginning to receive that initiation into your spiritual gifts, into your spiritual power. That's going to look different for everyone. You know what you've been experiencing there. And Neptune, of course, entered Aries. And of course, I lost that page. You guys know how I am with dates. Let me try to think about when did Neptune enter Aries? I don't know why I space out these dates so much. It's just because I got so much going on up here. The 30th of March. All right, so that's when this initiation began. That's when you began to see what it was that you were going to be uniquely working with, at least in this first beginning stage, this first decan. I'm being shown almost like each decan, which is like 9 to 10 degrees of Aries as Neptune moves through it, being a different phase of your spiritual initiation, a different phase of you stepping into your spiritual power. Now, Neptune, remember, is also the planet of illusion and delusion. So this is one of the initiations and one of the challenges or invitations of Neptune and Aries. Are we going to idolize somebody outside of us who we think holds the key to something that we are seeking that actually lies within? Or are we going to recognize ourselves as the ultimate spiritual authority? Because there are going to be those who rise to power, who rise to fame during Neptune and Aries, who sound good, who look good, but who are not good or sound. All right, and that's obviously judgment, right? But it sounded good, right? You know what I mean? But there's going to be, we'll say this, very enigmatic, dogmatic leaders possibly that rise to fame during this time. People are going to be really fired up. And people who aren't ready to follow their own inner compass are going to be looking for somebody else to follow. And there's going to be some people that really stand out in that regard, right? There's going to be some options. Some of those are going to be good options. Some of those are going to be perhaps not so good options. And the quote unquote good options, and anything's really a good option for us, right? Because if we resonate with it, that means it's serving our soul's expansion. All right, so just keep that in mind when we're talking about this, right? But as far as like those who that kind of negates anything else I was going to say, doesn't it? Right? Even those who have ill intentions, either those who are purposely misleading or who are based in ego. If you are aligned with them and resonated with them, that is serving your expansion in some way, the experience of that. So it's all good, no matter which way you look at it. Ultimately, even those who lead us down a path that disconnects us further from ourselves, ultimately that path, once we get disconnected enough, it forces us into reconnection, right? You cannot be found until you are lost. So it's going to be whether we are following an outer authority, whether that authority is, leading us in one direction or another direction, whether we're getting more in tune with our own inner authority. There's going to be a lot of profound expansion for everybody during this transit, during this time. Hello, Erickson. Yes. Aw, thank you so much, Brian. That's very kind. Absolutely. That's what we're all here to do, right? Spread that love, spread that positivity. Hopefully authentically, right? It's easy when I'm on here with you guys. Like when I'm in my everyday life, like sometimes, and I'm getting better. I'm getting better. My default setting that I've had to work throughout my life has been to be a little bit of a grump. You know what I mean? I have my moments. But really, there's so much to smile about. There's so much that is beautiful within the world. It's a practice sometimes. You know, it's cultivating that positivity, cultivating that ability to see the good in people, in situations. Whew. All right, let's see. I got to put this hair up a little more because like we said, it is friggin' warm in here, you guys. And then we're going to pull some cards. See what Spirit wants to tell us about this energy. This Sirian gateway. Meditate with this energy, you guys. Sit out in the sun with the intention of absorbing this high vibrational energy, because remember, whenever the sun lines up with one of these star systems, the sun is channeling that energy. So when the sun is aligned with Sirius, that imagine that is like there's a super hyper focused ray of energy being transmitted through the sun. So when you lay out in the sun and you charge your aura, you charge your toroidal sphere with that energy, you are essentially, you're supercharging every cell, every atom of your being. It's really, really beautiful. I love when the sun lines up with these star systems and these planets. All right, let's see. Let's get some tarot, and then we're going to pull some some starseed oracles, different varieties. Clear quartz. I'm feeling like clear quartz. It sounds kind of plain and boring. Sorry. You know, I'm saying this with love. It sounds kind of plain and boring, right? Clear quartz. But clear quartz, celestial quartz, very connected to Sirius. Selenite, yes, and some of these any of these white crystals, white pinks, blues, particularly light blues, purples, very connected with Sirius. Sirius is a blue star, Sirius A. So that blue frequency, especially the clear, it's clears and the blues. But I'm feeling, yeah, clear quartz. Sit out there when you're meditating in the sun, when you're absorbing those rays from the sun, sit out there with some clear quartz. Clear. All right, Spirit, what do you want us to know about this energy here? About this Sirian gateway and everything that is happening during, I mean, I feel like we could look back, right? Because I typically do a video for the Sirian gateway. And, all right, that's not opening. I was trying to get like a foothold here. I'm gonna settle down. I have trouble sitting like a normal person. I don't know if anybody else can relate to that. Like I always have to have a leg up somewhere or something. I don't know. So sitting at a desk is really hard for me because I can't just sit forward like a normal person. I'm gonna pull it together. What I was gonna say was there's videos that go back years that I've done on the Sirian gateway. So we can look through and see, and I encourage some of you to check it out after this live stream. I do not think we've had an action-packed lineup like this for the Sirian gateway, as far as I can remember. Like this is effing massive what we have going on right now. All right. Got the Six of Swords. That's great energy. This is letting that shit go. Putting down the burdens. This is that surrender energy that I was talking about. What is it my old mentor, Glenn Jones, he used to always say, more of what works, less of what doesn't. That's it. Remember what you can control. Your frequency. That's it. Your thoughts may not seem like it sometimes, but we truly can. It's just we've got to practice it. You know, if we don't stay disciplined, our thoughts will run rampant. All right, but if we begin to practice discipline with that, we can begin shifting that. right? We can control what we watch, what we listen to, what we speak, what we eat, what we consume. We can control our perspective, right? Everything is always working out for me. My world is always taking care of me. I chose it and I love it. That's all we can control. Through controlling that, we can, to a certain extent, control everything else, right? As far as like what kind of reality we're experiencing, right? So the only control we have is in the surrender and in the taking care of our own frequency. Because as soon as we start trying to control and micromanage in the 3D and the physical realm, we throw everything off balance. Our whole frequency gets thrown off balance too, right? Because we get entrenched in the ego, in the lower consciousness. So there's a sense of peace. There's a sense of leaving behind what isn't serving us. Surrendering to what isn't working. It's like, I feel like for many of us, we've been doing the same thing for such a long time, and it hasn't been working for a really long time. But we've been so used to the way that we've done things that it's the default programming, right? It's the default setting. It's been so much easier to run on autopilot, especially when you feel like there's so much going on. You know what I mean? Like there's so much that you have to do on a day-to-day basis. Even just like when it comes down to like daily, like I said, like honestly, in order to learn how to take care of my body, I've had to take huge steps back from a lot of other stuff in my life because it's that consuming to me. You know what I mean? It's that overwhelming and challenging. It takes that much energy and focus. All right. So like even just that, not let alone like the job that we're probably working or the family, the relationships, the connections, whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like we've got all that stuff going on. So sometimes it's putting in the work to change our habits. It's so much easier to run on autopilot when we have all that stuff distracting us, right? It really takes a lot of discipline and a lot of focus and a lot of commitment to begin changing these habits, to begin changing the way we see things, the way that we do things. And so like, I want to, and Spirit wants to congratulate every single person watching this, who's finding this, who has been doing that, who has been in the midst of taking the dog out for a walk, cooking themselves breakfast, right? Showing up for work, taking their kids to soccer practice, fill in the blank with whatever it is, whatever your responsibilities are, right? The things that you get to do. Who's also been doing the work to change their belief systems. Who's also been doing the work to see things from a different perspective, to challenge their old paradigms, right? To create and build new healthy habits. Like that is a huge accomplishment with everything that gets thrown in our path within a day. You know what I mean? Everything that we are responsible for in our reality. That is huge. And if it's taking you a long time, if you feel like you keep slipping backwards, that's okay. That doesn't mean that you're failing. All right? If you fall backwards, that means that you got ahead, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to fall back. And you will get ahead again. You will move forward again. All right, it's healing is not a linear, nothing in this reality is a linear path. And Uranus and Gemini is going to teach us that to a whole nother degree here. All right, so give yourself some credit for the work that you've done. That's part of what this card is about too, is just giving ourselves the credit where the credit is due. And we got the Ace of Swords with the Two of Cups. I'm not feeling this specifically just as soulmate love here. A lot of times that's what we see with the Two of Cups, right? But I'm feeling this as clarity around what we truly want. And we were talking about this with Venus, right? What we truly are worthy and deserving of. There's like a breakthrough here. This is what's available to us this week. It's like the Sirians, right? And all of this beautiful high vibrational energy, this beautiful opening of energy, Uranus, Venus, Neptune even, right? They're giving us this beautiful opportunity to make progress where we might have felt like our progress was being stalled, where it comes to letting things go that need to be let go. Finally giving us that final impetus that allows us to have that breakthrough, where it is that we've been trying so hard, but it's through the surrender, right? Notice I said where we've been trying so hard, through the surrendering. It's like that space is finally created. We're finally able to gain that traction. We're finally able to start, if we, and I'm using my own self as examples here, right? To start meditating daily, where we've had that intention, we've been doing it sporadically. This is an example, right? Now we're gonna have it giving us that extra boost to really dig in and start making those changes, or start releasing those old ways of thinking, those old habits, that old relationship that's no good for you, whatever it is, right? And then it's also giving us that breakthrough around what we truly want and what we truly deserve. And we don't have to do anything in order for this breakthrough. All we have to, so funny, I almost said we don't have to do anything, but then my next phrase was going to be all we have to do. It's simply about allowing, observing what comes up. No longer trying to force things. That's all we need to do in this gateway of energy. Just do our best not to force things and see what happens. See what comes through, see what comes up. Clarity. The clarity that we've been seeking, but it's the clarity of what's within our hearts. Where it is that the mind has gotten so loud that it's drowned out our hearts, we're now able to hear our hearts properly. And that's giving us a whole new level of clarity moving forward. Got the 9 of Wands here. With the Sun and Temperance. I love it. All right. This is the opening that's being created here. There's healing that's being created. There's an opening that's being created. Where once we were too afraid to let something in, where our trauma and our wounding, whether this is, and I'm feeling this particularly with Neptune retrograde in Aries. We talked a little bit about the healer's wound at the beginning of this. There's something here with this, where as Neptune turns retrograde, we're getting this opportunity to release some of these, it really feels strongly past life. So remember, even if you've been wounded in this life, those wounds that really cut deep, the reason they cut so deep is because this isn't the only life that you've experienced that pain, that betrayal, that specific scenario or energy. It's been many lifetimes. So it's like that core, getting to the core of that and releasing that. And this may not be a conscious process. For some, sure, but not for everybody. For some, this is going to be a very unconscious process, even like at a cellular level. And for some, and I really like this, as the DNA is activated through this portal and this gateway of energy, more memories of the truth of who you are going to be unlocked. For some, it's going to be memories of some of what this pain and this trauma was, but this goes beyond that. This is like memories of who you are at a soul level. And when you start to remember who you are, none of this matters anymore. You're able to let go of so much, to release so much, because you realize your true power, your true magnificence, your true beauty. And you're no longer fooled by the outside, by the 3D. Because you are so much more than that. You are so much beyond that. Beyond the suit that you're wearing, right? Beyond the circumstances in your reality. Those circumstances are merely a projection and a reflection of the wounds that you have yet to heal, if they're what you would perceive as negative circumstances. That's it. They're not of the truth of who you are. They're a reflection of times when you forgot the truth of who you were. But now, this year, 2025, this is the year to remember. That's why we're calling the Sedona retreat I Remember. That's what it's about. Remembering the beauty of who you are. That's what I'm here. That's the whole reason I'm here. That's the whole reason you manifested me, drew me, this live stream, this video into your reality, was to remind you of the truth and the beauty of who you are. Remember, you're creating all of this. I am a reflection of you. All right, so this is beautiful. This is that remembrance and everything that happens as a result of that. Once you remember who you are unstoppable. You are pure source energy taking form. All right? You are everything. You are anything you choose to be, right? All right. Let's pull from here. Starseed Oracle. We're going to do the Gateway of Light. Oh, there's so many amazing decks here that I don't even use that often. That it's like they're all calling to me at once because I haven't used them that much. It's like I've been taking a lot of that time for the self-care. And I've also been spending a lot more time with my son lately as well. But after like a week, or not even, because I guess we do these live streams once a week, although we didn't do it last week because I had stuff going on, which is all cleared up and healed, by the way, if you couldn't tell by how much I'm talking. I start to get that itch. Like I need to come on here and do a reading for you all. And like I miss you all too, right? But also just like, it's like my cards start calling me. It's like, I feel that it's like, I don't know how to describe it. Any of you guys who also read probably know what I'm talking about. And obviously just the connection of this tribe as well. Like I really want to take a moment just to express how much I appreciate all of you. I don't think that I can put into words what this tribe has given me. The ability to connect with all of you, to see that reflection of myself in all of you. I don't know. I feel like I don't celebrate you all enough. Maybe I do. Maybe that's just my own misperception. But I really want you all to know that just how much, like, you are so beautiful. And I am so grateful for you. And over the years, there's been so many of you, like every now and then, like somebody sends me a t-shirt or they send me a deck of cards or something. And like, it means so much to me, even if I don't always express it. And I should, right? So I am. You know, it means so much to me. It's so incredibly beautiful, you know. And sometimes with the t-shirts too, like I'm like, oh wow, they think I'm this small, huh? And I'm flattered. So some of them fit, some of them, you know, they will fit again soon, and I'll be wearing them in the future again. That's what I'm calling in and manifesting, you know what I mean? But regardless, I'm getting off topic now. I'm rambling, but I appreciate you guys so much. You're so beautiful. So thank you for being here. Thank you for reflecting to me the beauty of my own soul, of my own energy, my own light. All right, clear. Hi, Tara. Hi, Selah. All right. What do all my beautiful starseeds need to know at this time? I'm really looking forward to, as I'm studying galactic astrology, I'm also learning how to give quantum soul readings, where we can look into your Akashic records. We can look into all of your different lifetimes, obviously not in one session because we're infinite, we're multidimensional, there's so many, you know, but different lives and different star systems and different densities and all kinds of cool stuff. So that's something I'm looking forward to offering soon in the future here as well for people. And of course, the past life regression sessions allow for that as well. Your higher self takes you to whatever lifetime is the most relevant for that particular session. So if any of you guys are wanting to connect with yourselves more deeply, you're interested in learning more, there's that, the energy sessions, so much that I have to offer to anybody who's wanting to go deeper and who is feeling 2025 as that year of remembrance and want some assistance in that process. And yes, Annika's linking my website right there where you can find all the things that I do. So we have the Cosmic Heart coming out. And I've always loved this card for what it says, make your life a living prayer or a moving prayer. And so this brings through that energy of, you know how they say gratitude is an action word? So it's like living gratitude, living love, right? So when make your life a moving prayer, a living prayer. So this means honoring and acknowledging the sacredness in every moment. That's what it is to make your life a living prayer, a moving prayer. To honor yourself and everyone as divine. To honor this path, this experience as divine. To honor yourself as divine. And to express that divinity through just the joyful expression of who you are. Your heart is going to be cracked open and activated during this portal. And you're going to feel yourself being called in a certain direction. In a direction that moves you. There is something so powerful about living your life through the energy of devotion. And this is the positive manifestation of devotion, right? So we're not talking about obsession and compulsion here. We're not talking about martyrdom. We're talking about devotion that truly comes from the heart. When we love something so much that embracing it, that living it, that embodying it in our daily lives feels like a gift and a blessing that uplifts us. So it's like connecting to that sense of devotion. And it's really going to be, and this goes back to the Ace of Swords with the Two of Cups energy, right? We're going to be recognizing and getting very, very clear during this period of time what it is that we are devoted to. Perhaps why, but the why isn't as important here. It's just recognizing that and then moving accordingly, acting accordingly to that. When we live our lives in devotion, when we live our lives as a sacred prayer, everything that we do is infused with meaning, even the most seemingly mundane things. I'm almost getting chills right now because I'm remembering there are certain moments, like there's a certain moment when I was in Costa Rica during I think it was my second ayahuasca ceremony, where that energy of sacredness just came over me. And there was just, I can't even necessarily describe in words what that energy felt like, but that's what this card feels like to me right now. There was a beauty, it was reverence. That's the word that I want to use. So it's bringing that energy of reverence into your daily life, reminding yourself of that. Your soul wanted to come here so badly. Your soul values this experience more than you can possibly know. right? Your soul is you. You're a little spark, a little piece of your soul, right? That your soul sent down into this physical body. And yes, from this vantage point, right, as the human, as this little spark of the soul energy, it's definitely like, it's less intense for the soul experiencing through us than it is for this aspect of our soul. You know what I mean? But still, it's beautiful if we can just tap into that remembrance, that acknowledgement of how sacred this journey can be, is, truly. For some reason, I'm being reminded of the idea of the sacred and the profane. And I really love that. I'm all about duality. I don't know if anybody who's followed this channel for a long time, you've probably picked up on that, right? Very, very big on duality, light and the dark, embracing both sides, both aspects. It's like the sacred and the profane. All that is profane is sacred, and all that's sacred is profane. It's all one, right? One and the same. Just different lenses that we're viewing the experience from. Just, it's so, I think the reason that we're talking about this right now is because it's so hard sometimes to remember how sacred this journey is and can be when we're in the thick of it, when we're feeling all the feels, right? When and remember, we're doing all of this because we're creating all of this, right? But it feels like something outside of us is just raining hell upon us sometimes, right? That can be how this journey feels, especially when we're in a period of mass awakening or initiation. And we forget. Sometimes even if there's nothing dramatic going on and we're just stuck in the day-to-day minutia, right? Because sometimes life can feel like that. Sometimes we're literally just putting one foot in front of the other. And we're exhausted. And we forget what a gift this experience is. So in those moments when you can truly remember, really make the most of those. Really honor this experience. Sing, dance, give into the bliss of it all. For me, for some reason, I tap into 5D consciousness. There's two places where I tap into it the most. When I'm out in nature, right? But also when I'm driving. Particularly when it's hot, especially during this Lionsgate energy. When I'm driving and I have the windows down and I feel that hot wind on my face and everything's green and it's just flowing past me, it's like I tap into that energy, that state of bliss. However you get there, when you get there, just fully embrace that. Stay in that for as long as you can. That's the frequency that's the frequency that's drawing to you all of the things that are probably going to please you the most, right? All right. We have the child of the cosmos here. The intelligence of the universe lies within you. These are these internal activations. Once again, see how it's all coming out of the heart? Major, major heart chakra activations here. And then we have the messenger, which is Sirius energy. I'm going to read this card for us, actually. And then we're going to get an activation card. Some of you are going to be receiving channelings. You're going to be receiving information that's meant to be shared. And for some, it's meant to be shared like on a platform like this. If you've been thinking about that, if you've been thinking about, I feel like, and we talked about this with the Neptune and Aries energy, right? Healing the healer's wound, having gaining that spiritual courage that allows you to finally have that breakthrough where you've been holding yourself back, where you've been holding back your light, where you've been afraid to express that. So I'm feeling that energy where some of you, if you've been called for some time to start a YouTube, start a TikTok or whatever, right? Start a blog, anything like that, a podcast. You're going to really feel the impetus to do that during this portal. And this is a really great time to launch that energy, I'm feeling, for some. Also, and some of you, if you want chart, I feel like somebody would benefit from doing like an election chart. So this is when you chart out, like you figure out when it would be good to launch a certain project based on the astrology. So you do a chart. So that's something I can help somebody with if that's resonating for somebody who's watching this. But yeah, some of you are going to be called to finally launch that. You're going to get that final push that you need. Some of you, it's like the messages don't necessarily need to be shared on that scale. That may not be where you're calling, but they're meant to be shared with someone. And you're going to know who that someone is. And this is really important, that energy of knowing who that someone is. You know, like if on here, anybody who's drawn to watch the video will watch it, right? But like, you know, there are people who are mediums and different things. This is the example that I'm being drawn to give right now. And they might get messages that are meant for certain people. But if people aren't open to receiving those, like it can do more harm than good to share them. You know, so you have to know how to practice discernment with those things. Like, is this something that's meant to be shared? Is the person that this is meant for in a place to receive it? You know, especially with spirits, because they're basically just like us. You know, they're not necessarily like, when people kind of stay in that in-between space, you know, where they haven't passed on to the next, there's like an aspect of their soul that's kind of hanging out in limbo. They're not necessarily in the place to make the best call as to what somebody's ready to hear either. You know what I mean? So it's like, you got to really use your discretion. You can't just be shouting out everything to everyone all the time. You know what I mean? But like, you're going to know, whoever this is for, like if you are meant to deliver a message, it's going to be very clear who the message is for. And you're going to be able to feel it in your heart that message is meant to be delivered. And of course, still, I think the reason I went on that little diatribe there was like, ask for consent, get consent before you share it. But like, you're going to know who it's meant for. For some of you, it's just meant for you to share in your social circle, right? It's not even a specific person. It's just meant to be shared in that level. But some of you guys, it's like, you're just meant to write down the messages you're receiving, because in the future, they're going to be shared. All right, we were going to read the messenger. So it says, you're part of the lineage of souls who have dedicated their lifetimes to the upliftment of this planet. No surprise there, right? In case you didn't know. To returning time and again to seed the light. The crystalline ones. The ones who are here to plant the sacredness of life back in. To honor both the sacred feminine and masculine. To usher deep reverence back in. Isn't it so funny how that word reverence keeps coming up, right? Many ascended masters are thought to be connected to the energy of Sirius. Often appearing as a shade of blue, they hold the frequency of pure love and are here to help the masculine and feminine exist in harmony, to ensure greater balance, to help us see that we're all connected and that the masculine and feminine energies exist within us all. You're being called to bring about this balance and harmony between the masculine and feminine, to be a guardian of harmony and balance on earth. I'm getting strong 6 energy with this. And of course, 7-6 is when we do have Sirius conjunct the sun. Think of the whales traveling around the globe, sharing love through their healing vibrational song. Their unique notes send balance and harmony to every corner of the planet. A rebalancing of the masculine and feminine is occurring worldwide. It's a resurgence of the sacred within us all. A returning of the sacred union within. A rekindling of heaven and earth. You can begin to bring harmony and balance by creating it in your own life. The ripples will flow from there. You can honor and balance the sacred masculine and feminine energies within yourself and others. And the soul seed, or the star seed inquiry here is, how are you being called to bring harmony to your life or to the planet? How are you being called to honor the sacred masculine and feminine within you? And I think this is interesting because there's a lot of confusion going on the planet right now. A lot of it kind of orchestrated, I guess you could say, regarding divine feminine and masculine energies, regarding kind of like over-identification, in a sense, with either the masculine or feminine. There's just a lot of obscuring and a lot of, I don't know, distraction surrounding that. So it's really important. A key part of this ascension journey is balancing our own internal masculine and feminine energies. Understanding that both of these energies reside within us. Although we did incarnate to have a specific experience more pronounced of one of those embodiments of those energies. This goes, I'm feeling this beyond the masculine and feminine balance. So like I said, I'm feeling that sixth energy. It's harmonizing, harmony, polarity, balancing all polarities. Wherever there are polarities that have gone out of balance, wherever it is that we're leaning too far to one end or another, we're being asked to balance that out. We're being given the tools and the assistance needed to bring that balance. As we bring balance within ourselves, we bring balance to the collective, right? Once again, like we said, our own healing work is the greatest healing that we will do, the greatest service we will ever do for this planet. Trying to think what else. It just feels also like there's like deep spiritual wisdom being activated with this portal. Another thing that came through when I was sort of feeling into this on my drive home earlier was this energy of our spiritual lineage being activated. And this could be through the activations of the DNA, right? Because we hold that spiritual lineage within our DNA. So really connecting with aspects of our spiritual lineage that are ready to be awakened at this time. Memories, connections. Someone said, Dee says, dreams have been strong for me this week. That's not surprising. That's not surprising at all. Particularly now with Neptune going retrograde too, probably some very interesting dreams. And this, of course, is all about the late body activations. We don't need a card to tell us that's going on, right? I'll be interested to see also like what's going on with the sun, with the solar flares and everything as we move through the Sirian gateway. Because remember, the sun is supercharged with the energy of Sirius right now. So if we have major solar flares, those are going to be like nothing else with that energy from Sirius pouring through at the same time. All right, let's get an activation card to close here. I could keep going forever, but like we all know this, right? Clear. Tell us more about the activations that we're receiving as we move through this portal, this gateway, and these energies, Spirit. Oh, it's interesting too. What Spirit's also bringing to mind is we are focusing a lot on Sirius, but it's also important to note that we are completing or we will be entering, okay, correcting myself here. Wait, hold on. Give me a second. The sun just came out of the Pleiadian portal. So the Pleiadian portal is the end of Taurus season into the beginning of Gemini season. But Uranus is still within the Pleiades. So as the sun is moving towards connection with the star Sirius, Uranus is still within the connecting and activated within the Pleiades right now. At 29 degrees of Taurus, the sun, or Venus rather, Venus and Uranus are going to have their conjunction within the Pleiades star cluster, which extends to the first couple degrees of Gemini. So we've got that Pleiadian energy activated right now as well on this planet, in addition to the Sirian energies coming through. Pleiadians, another very loving, highly heart-centered spiritual race. A lot of Pleiadian star seeds on this planet. We've got star being healing codes, important information, wounds are healed, recharging. So this is confirming basically our entire reading. I love it when the closing cards do that. We're going to get a couple of these and we're going to read them. Those wounds, this definitely, I think, connects to the healer's wound and what we were talking about there. Serious star blessings. Can't make that up. All right, what else have we got? One more. And we have star gathering. Remembering home, soul family, as well as your family of light, right? So that's that lineage, that heritage that we were talking about. And I was feeling we're talking about the DNA. I was feeling some energy with the angelic DNA as well. So I love that we have the angel frequency card on the bottom. Lots of earth angels in this tribe. All right, so let's see. Which, of course, is simply somebody with angelic DNA who is incarnated here on Earth. Some say fallen angels, but I'm not so much into that terminology. We didn't fall, right? A fall is an accident, right? There's no accident that you're incarnated here. We descended for the purpose of spiritual growth and enlightenment, for the purpose of assisting the collective, giving and sharing wisdom, gaining wisdom. All right, star gathering came up first, so we'll go backwards here through the cards. This one says, let's see. Star gathering is a powerful card. It's the energy of home. Before we joined this cycle of life as a human being, we were part of the cosmos. And that feeling of being connected to the stars is a memory of what we were before. This card reminds us that we have star power and star potential, but we are not the only star in the world. For when we switch on our light, we attract more star energy and even our own star family. Just receiving a personal message right now as well, which is interesting. Let's see. So the message here is that you have found the lost pieces of yourself and your energy, and now is your time to shine. So this is the integration point for many of those energies. You are magnetic, attracting people, energies, and opportunities that will allow for your dreams to unfold. This is a time of wishes fulfilled. All of your dedication, focus, and dreaming has paid off, and now you can reap the rewards. It's important for you to know that this plane of existence is your rightful place, and not to spend too much time trying to transcend this reality. This is so important, you guys. This is why when we talk about being fully incarnated, for you chose to be here at this time. Right, so another reminder, you chose to be here at this time, right here, right now. Yes, you are of the stars, but at this moment, this aspect of your consciousness is engaged in this experience and wants to remain fully engaged. A lot of people use the ascension as this like escape hatch, right, where we can escape our reality. But it's not about escaping our reality. It's about sinking deeper into it. It's about being fully absorbed in this experience right here, right now. You are a multidimensional being, but you didn't descend into this dimension in order to escape it, right? You descended into this dimension in order to experience it fully. I share this sometimes, this download that I received. I think it was like last year sometime, maybe. We transcend this reality by embracing it and loving it completely. It's an interesting paradox, right? Make the most of this powerful opportunity of incarnation. If you are feeling particularly connected to certain individuals at this time, it's because you are finding your star family. Beings you connected with before you entered the circle of physical incarnation. As long as you are connected to yourself, you are at home. All right? And that's really important to remember, that we are always at home with ourselves. Because this can be a lonely journey. For some people, the closest connection you've had to your star family is this channel, this tribe. And I'm so grateful to be able to provide a space where you can connect with your star family, right? But it can still be lonely, right? Because this is online. This is why we're doing the meetup in Sedona. I really encourage people to come, even if you don't want to do or you can't do the Airbnb. Come, visit, plan your own visit. Some of you, if you have family or friends in the area, or people want to group together, you know, to do the meetup, just that's why I'm creating these things, these opportunities for us to meet in person. Some of you, though, you're going to be meeting some of your soul tribe around this time. You're going to be drawing them in. Once that Six of Swords energy is activated, that final release happens, and you fall into surrender. You fall into, we call it your soul song. When you're emitting your purest and truest vibration, you're going to begin attracting these people in. I feel like this is particularly for somebody who's felt really lonely for a long time. But Spirit's saying you got to do your part in the process too. You got to reach out. You got to make the effort. For some of you, it may literally fall in your lap, but even still, like, you're going to have to pick up the phone. You're going to have to interact. Some of us, it's like we've been in hermit mode for so long that we almost don't know how to have interactions anymore. Right? We don't remember the give and take of a friendship and building and creating a connection. So for some people, it's like we need to be reminded of that. Right? And some of you, it's just you're going to be remembering your home in the stars and building that psychic connection with your team of light in the non-physical. Sirius star blessings is all about having the courage to be seen, which is interesting because remember we talked about, and that's what we talked about with the healing the healer's wound too, right? But it's this energy of where you've been feeling pushed to put yourself out there, but you haven't had the courage to do it yet. This is the confirmation of that message coming through. Let's see. And I'm going to read about Sirius here too, because it is the Sirian gateway. And we talked about Sirius a little bit before, but I want to read some more to you guys about Sirius. It says, Sirius is the brightest star in the sky and was of the utmost importance to the ancient Egyptians. In fact, our current new year was celebrated as the coming of Sopdet, the goddess queen of Sirius, as during the last week of December, Sirius can be found high in the sky between midnight and dawn. The Sirius star system is the home of a race of humanoid beings who most likely live in a dimension higher than our own. And this is weird. They're talking about December Sirius being high in the sky, because Sirius is rising in the sky in the summer as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know if they're talking about the southern hemisphere here or what this is with Sirius here in the last week of December. So I don't know. Do your own research on that part of it, right? We consider this to be a period where Sirius is rising right now. But the energy is the same, even if they're giving it a different timeline here. And so, continuing. The Sirius star system is the home of a race of humanoid beings who most likely live in a dimension higher than our... Most likely. Yeah, most likely. Not to diminish us by any means, but they're definitely higher than third dimension density beings. It's believed that these beings can be contacted through spiritual practice. Tuning into them can enable us to receive high-frequency spiritual downloads, especially with Uranus in the sign of Gemini. This card draws the bright light of Sirius and the support of Sirian star beings into our world. When it comes to us, it helps us find light in moments of darkness and uncertainty and helps us to continue on when we feel like giving up. If you feel strongly connected to Sirius and its star beings, it's likely that you are connected to them on a spiritual level. And if you take time to locate the star in the sky, you might even have a sense of coming home. To connect with them, find an image of Sirius online or look for the star in the sky. Imagine a great beam of light, you can imagine blue if you choose, coming down from it and washing over your being. Know that the electric blue frequency will be supporting you as you move forward. So use that as like a cleansing and a clearing. We talked about connecting with the sun, especially as the sun moves into closer conjunction with Sirius, but the stars as well. Connect with Sirius at night and the sun during the day. The message that comes with this gateway is a giant yes. It brings the energy of wishing on a star and seeing that wish come true. This is a time for you to move forward with any projects or ideas that you have felt called to carry out. This is like a reiteration of everything we just said. There's an energy of positivity, abundance, and excitement surrounding you at this time. Whatever dreams you've been revisiting recently aren't dreams, but premonitions. Know that whatever you're connecting with on the inside is soon to be something you'll be experiencing in the physical. So think about what you desire instead of what you fear. See yourself celebrating as if your wildest dreams have come true. As you do so, you'll be creating the perfect energy for them to manifest into your world. And this is like all the little shorts that we've been doing too. It's kind of summarizing that energy. So I love this, how it's bringing back that knowledge, that importance of how powerfully we are shifting timelines right now, of how powerful our intentions are, of how important it is to really think about, or if not even think about, because that books us right back in the head, right? But important to remember the importance of where we put our focus. Putting our focus only where we want it to go. This doesn't mean spiritually bypassing. This doesn't mean not feeling our feelings. We're going to be purging like a motherfucker at certain points of time during this process. So let yourself purge. If you need to get those emotions out, get them out. Do not keep them bottled in, all right? Purging is always a part of this activation process. So let yourself purge, but don't dwell in the negative, all right? Let yourself feel the feelings, but don't connect with the thoughts. This is the difference. This is how Spirit wants us to know, like, whether we're purging productively or whether we're getting stuck on the hamster wheel in our minds. It's not about the thoughts, right? That endless loop of negative thoughts, of questioning thoughts, of, am I good enough? Is this going to happen? What if this happens? What, you know what I mean? That's all the ego. That's what we want to avoid. When we just have those feelings and emotions come up, we want to feel them, right? But we know we're creating those emotions ourselves when we get on the hamster wheel in our minds, right? So get off the hamster wheel. Allow the feelings and emotions to move through you when they want to, when you're ready to release them. But don't stay stuck in them by engaging the mind in the process. All right, engage the mind with daydreams and thoughts of what it is that you are creating, what it is that you're moving towards, what it is that you're embracing. All right, surround yourself with things, with people that lift you up. Watch things, listen to things that lift you up, that lift your vibration. All right, that program your mind to think more positively by consuming positivity as opposed to negativity. That's the best way I can put it. All right. And know that this is that time where we talked about the spiritual escrow all the time. Everything that's been accumulating in the non-physical, it is beginning to bleed through into the physical. Finally, hallelujah, right? All right, last card here. Star being healing codes. And we get to play, does Kassia know her alphabet? I thought I did, but apparently I don't. All right, here we go. Let's see. So this is all about receiving healing codes directly from our cosmic guides and ancestors, from our own higher selves, right? Because your own higher self is a cosmic being. Retreating to a safe space in order to cleanse and recharge your energy. This is a good message for everyone, good closing message to keep in mind. You may feel called to be a healer for others and share healing with the world, but please ensure you are balanced and filled up with light first. This is not the time for you to sacrifice your own well-being in order to serve others. Remember, we got Jupiter in Cancer right now. Cancer is a very nourishing sign. It is a nurturing, mothering sign. But at the same time, it also highlights the importance of self-care, of going within, of pulling back the energy. All right. It's a big time for that right now, for recharging. This is a time to charge your own batteries. And when your battery is fully charged, that light naturally emanates out to the world. Let's see. This is not the time for you to sacrifice your own well-being in order to serve others, because that doesn't really serve anyone, right? Light beings are placing their hands upon you now, filling you with divine light that will wash away any blockages or stagnant energy, standing in the way of your freedom and wholeness. Star beings are channeling healing codes and frequencies into your being, and it's important for you to stay alert for any intuitive guidance about your body so that you can be restored to health once more. So I think that that really wraps up a lot of what we've been talking about today. So just be open to those, receiving those healing codes. If you guys are interested, I've been thinking about doing a live call, like over Zoom, for those who want to receive healing codes, to be a conduit to help to transmit that energy for those who are open to receiving. I mean, anybody who watches these videos, there's always healing codes being transmitted for those who are willing to receive. It's funny when people are open to receive, they message in the comments sometimes, or they email me sometimes, and they tell me about the experiences that they had during these live streams or during videos and things like that. Like, it's always available, but a more conscious container where we're doing that together in a sacred space. If any of you are interested in that, let me know. I can put something like that together for everyone. All right. I'm going to just check through the comments here before we close. I see Solomon in there. It's always wonderful to have you with us, brother. And remember, you don't need me to receive these healing codes. You don't need anybody. All you need is your own open-heartedness, your own willingness to receive, your own receptivity. So you can just sit in meditation and set that intention. Like we said, go out in the sun. Receive the healing codes from the sun, particularly as Sirius transmits through the sun this week. Receive those healing codes from Sirius, right? From the stars. You don't need anybody to be an intermediary. However, sometimes it is nice to simply plug in and receive in that way. So, like I said, let me know if you're interested in that. Hello, Isela, still here. D. It is really cool having that juxtaposition, isn't it? Like that juxtaposition of the 3D and the 5D and the 4D all kind of rolled together into this like interesting little sandwich where we're tapping into these different frequencies, and we get the contrast of all of that. That's one of the greatest gifts of this reality, right? Is the contrast. Oh, thank you, Cameron. I appreciate the donation. It's much appreciated. Obviously, sometimes the way I say things, whatever, it is what it is. The point was there, I think, which is that I appreciate you deeply. Anybody who does feel called to donate, who does feel supported by this content, it is always appreciated. Not necessary, but appreciated. And I'm going to be adding links soon for people who want to donate in crypto as well. So I will have those options coming up soon here in the future. I'm going to create a whole page with different addresses if people want to feel desiring to send through donations that way as well. But just know that showing up here, your energy, your frequency, sharing that with everyone, that is a really beautiful way to give back as well. Simply being here, you add your frequency, you add your intention, you add your light and your energy. And then I pick up on that, and it gives for much more beautiful readings. It gives for just such a beautiful, rich interaction that we have with each other. So know that it's like I appreciate you in any way that you're able to show up. But for those who wish to show up in that way, I am always going to give you the options to be able to do so, right? Because we give, that's part of how we receive abundance, right? Is we're not afraid to let people know that we're open to receive it, and we create the pathways for it to come through into our reality. Thank you for calling me into your reality today. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for being part of this gorgeous tribe. And if you're on here watching and you're not part of the tribe yet, you can join. Click the subscribe button so you don't miss live streams. We try to go live at 2 p.m. on Wednesdays, Eastern Daylight Time. But sometimes it's a different time or day. That's why you want to get the notifications. If you want access to members-only videos or other perks, you can join the channel subscription as well. I've been doing extended readings now when I do regular readings. So that's part of the high tier membership. Clear. We also do live calls, bi-weekly live calls. So that is available as well to a couple different levels of the membership. So choose your own adventure here. Clear. Choose your own level of involvement, knowing that all levels and all choices are honored and respected and appreciated here. Yes. I love you, brother. I love you, Solomon. I love you, Dee, Annika, Isela, everybody, Michael, Cameron, MM. Your fate. Oh, so this is a creamery. I see you on there. This is something really fun. And sorry, you guys, I did like, I'm just kind of playing around and experimenting with different things here. So I did my little eyelashes today. And I suck at doing them, whatever it is. I think it's just because like I get sketched out with the glue. So they always pop up in the corner. So if you see me like poking myself in the eye, that's why. I'm just trying to... It's fine. Oh, Sophie, hello, beautiful. But well, it's so good to see you. I'm so glad you caught us at the end. What was I going to say, though? I was starting to say something that I distracted myself here. Oh, fate, destiny. Yes. So I am so excited to do a video on this at some point. I have been for the longest time trying to figure out the significance of the ascendant versus the sun sign. And I finally figured it out. So I want to share it to all of you who are on here right now. So your sun sign is your destiny. Your rising sign is your fate. So what is the difference between those two things, you might ask? In my humble opinion, destiny is what we choose and fate is what we chose. And what I mean by that is fate is the blueprint that our soul designed for this lifetime. The things, the experiences that we will have more or less no matter what. Because that is woven into the design for our lifetime. Our destiny is more reflected within our free will choices. It's also part of our design, but it is sort of the path that we sculpt and choose. So I thought that that was a really cool and interesting way to look at the sun versus the rising sign, the fated energy versus the destined energy. Because the sun sign is all about the actions that we take, right? The ways that we show up, the ways that we energize, the ways that we shine. Whereas the rising sign is the energy that we chose, that aligns us with more of the destined or the fated events that we're going to experience, the fated path of evolution. So I'm going to expand upon that much more at a later point. But I was really excited that it was like there's something finally clicked within my mind as far as the differences, the distinctions between those energies. All right. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for being the gorgeous beings that you are. Thank you for being. All right, I'm done. I'm really glad that we were able to do the live stream today. I'll see you guys next week. All right. Bye.